This is part 3 of a presentation that I gave on Friday, August 19th, 2011. It was held at the Roasters Guild Retreat in Roanoke, West Virginia. The audience was comprised of roughly 200 people from all across the country. This is the Manzano Project, a research project that has been going on in El Salvador for over 5 years now. My name is Emilio Lopez. After concluding our preparations for the experimentation process, the first thing we implemented and developed was a method for evaluating the quality of the cherries submitted by farmers to our mill. We called this the categorization process. So the categorization process is a method of measuring the quality of the cherries entering our mill. It provides the farmer and the miller information about the coffee submitted by the farmer. With this process, every single batch of cherries coming into the mill gets categorized. In the following video, you'll see how this process works. So this is the categorization process. First thing that happens as the truck comes in from any of the plantations is for it to get on the scale. Someone then gets on the truck and starts sampling. In this case, Eduardo goes up the truck and begins that process. You can see how he takes a sample from some of the bags. At the same time, the driver goes into the office and submits the paperwork sent by the farmer. That data is inputted into our system. The number of bags sampled will be 1 for every 10 bags coming in the truck. A 200 bag truck will get 20 bags sampled. The quality of the cherries will then be determined by the following set of standards. So these are the 7 most common class of beans coming from the plantation. We got optimum ripeness here, a dark red. We got pink beans, a little underripe. We got yellow ones, underripe as well. We got overripeness here on the right. Down here we got the dried pods. Or dry beans, we got sunburned beans, and we got the fully unripe beans. So those are the 7 most common class of beans coming from the plantation. So after the sample was taken from the truck, we take 200 grams and we categorize the sample. So 200 grams is 100% of the sample. We tear that or put it to 0, and we begin sorting the fully ripe beans. In this case, it is Jose doing this. Usually, this process takes about 10 minutes, so the truck actually waits on the scale for about 10 minutes until we grade the coffee. Remember that all the information regarding quality of the cherries will be inputted in our database and then printed on the receipt that the farmer gets. If you look over here, here's all the paperwork he has. So here's a folder, pen, calculator, and this is where he fills all the information regarding the coffee. He's now weighing actually total grams of the fully ripe. If you see here, he's got 57 grams out of the 200. So now he fills out the data on his folder. So first, the name of the plantation, in this case El Corozo. It is an HG altitude, the date, it is October 22nd, 2010. So he writes down the 57 grams, which is about 28.5% of the sample. He goes back and begins the same process with the pink beans. So this happens for each class of bean. After all the classes have been weighed and given a percentage, we compare it to our parameters and we finally give it a grade, which is what we call the categorization. So after this, he'll put his scale back to 0 and he'll weight the pinks. So scale to 0, weighs the pinks, And we have to do this for every class of bean. So this would be a double A category coffee. Very clean, very nice, and actually this is the limit. Anything better than this will also be a category double A. So yes, it's got some dry ones, unripe, pinks, but yeah, this is the limit. Anything better than this will also be a double A category. Very clean, good looking coffee. So this is a category. Yes, there's some underripe beans. In general, this sample is very clean still. That green one, yes, but it's got some yellows. It's got a little pink overripe, but actually, this is where the machinery comes in and cleans this coffee, sorts all those pods, all those yellows, or those that minimum part of the unripe. But most of the machinery does take care of that. In general, very clean, good-looking coffee. B category. Not that good looking, but if you got the right set of machines, you'll do a good job on that. Yeah, it's got yellows, underripe, dries, overripe, everything in it. But once again, if you have the right machinery on your depumping station, no problem. You'll sort that and have everything separated, even though it looks not that good. Category C. Awful looking, but actually this is how the beginning of the harvest and the end of the harvest look like. And once again, the machinery does a good job. You better have good machinery at the depumping station to take care of this kind of coffees. At a mill, you have to receive. After we have categorized the coffees, Policarpo here punches in all the information. Name of the plantation, the grade we just gave it, all that goes into our information system. And the main reason actually we just categorize the coffee is to know what to blend with what. Which plantation can be blended with which one. If it can't be blended because it's a double A, well, we'll keep it as a double A. But if we can blend it, hey, a bigger batch could be better. So that's actually the categorization process at Beneficio del Manzano. So, while it might be difficult to read, the following chart is an example of the report given to the producer during and after the harvest. This chart and graph shows a blueprint of the cherries the producer submitted to the mill. In this case, the name of this plantation is El Guaje. The producer only submitted 3 days or 3 times in the harvest. Therefore, only 3 readings. With this report, we're able to know the batch number, the name of the plantation, whether it is an SHG or HG, also the date the cherries were received, as well as the lot or sublot of the plantation, the number of bags, and weight, as well as the bricks reading. And then the whole breakup of the different types of bean that the sample had. Finally, a grade or the categorization. In this case, it is all 3 samples or all 3 batches this producer gave us or gave the mill was an A category. In the bottom, a chart with the weighted average and a graph of the weighted average. Over here, percentages of what the producers submitted to the mill. So originally, the categorization process was intended to keep control of our suppliers, but now it has become a valuable source of data and has let us analyze, correlate and validate the data with the cup quality. These are the parameters of how we categorize the coffees delivered to the mill. Although this could be classified information for many, we actually give this chart to our suppliers for them to see and understand how are we evaluating and paying for their coffee cherries. I share it with the coffee industry as it could be of some help for others. So, for example, how to read these parameters. On the left, the levels or the types of beans coming in. So you got optimum ripeness, pink, yellow, overripe, dry, sunburned beans, and fully unripe. Over here, double A. What does a coffee need to have or to be to become a double A coffee? It needs to have at least 90% of optimum ripeness, but all the rest of parameters are maximums. So a coffee could have 92% optimum ripeness, but if any of the others are overpassed, for example, if a coffee has more or a coffee has more than 3% of dry, it will jump to the next one. Or, so in this case, maximum 5% pink, 0.5% yellow, 3% overripe, all those, if they go up by as little as 1% or half percent, they'll jump to the next. So a coffee, for it to be an A category, it needs to have at least 75% optimum ripeness. And the others, once again, are maximums. So maximum 15% pink. Then B category. B category has to have at least 60% between pink and and optimum ripeness. And C, for example, C is any coffee that didn't get classified as AA, A, or B. So anything that doesn't have minimum 60% of pink and fully ripe, it goes to C category. So that's our parameters on how to evaluate the cherries. So this is end of part 3. Stay tuned for part 4.